Hello everyone and welcome to the Design Therapy, your creative community and outlet for everything inspirational, aspirational, and experimental. I'm your host, Cassie Patterson, a creative designer and brand strategist right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is my very first episode that I'm having my special guest, Christy Hunter, on the episode. She is with Photowalk the Gulch in authentic photos and design. So welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Cassie.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of all of your work and all of your photos.
I'm a fan of yours. I love it.
We've got to work together a few times, so it's always a pleasure working with you.
You too. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Sure. Well, Photowalk the Gulch is my Airbnb experience that came about a year and a half ago when Airbnb launched experiences in Nashville. I was one of the first ones to be on with that, and it's where I take people who are usually from outside of Nashville, usually tourists and guests coming in, on a photo walk around the Gulch where we stop at different various spots and I take their photos, but all the while I'm giving them like insight into where to eat and shop and hang out while they're staying in Nashville. But it's also
experience.
It is, yeah. And we're the #1 Airbnb experience in Nashville.
Congrats,
so
that's amazing.
Thank you. And I'm also the Airbnb experience host leader for the host community in Nashville. So my job there is to facilitate the community of experience hosts and do things and kind of bring us together so that we can all know about each other's experiences and help each other out and just be a community.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. And then with authentic photos and designs, that's more of where I do fashion, weddings, portraits. I work with bloggers, influencers, and
I've worked with her. It's amazing.
Yeah,
she does
she's
phenomenal work.
Thank you.
It makes me feel like a queen, a goddess when I do the photo shoots with her.
That's the goal. I feel like when people walk away from a shoot with me, I want them to feel like, man, I feel good. Like I feel good about myself. I am beautiful. I am,
and you do. It's amazing. It's such an amazing experience working with you.
Thank you. That's my goal.
Oh, I love it. Well, tell me a little bit about like what inspires you as a creative in the industry.
Well, I really love looking at books like fashion, just photos from the classic Hollywood era, like classic movies.
Which is the best era.
The best era, yes.
Marilyn Monroe, Jane Russell.
Yes, so many. Lauren
Sophia,
Bacall.
Yes, Sophia Loren is one of my favorites.
Yes, Rita Hayworth. I
think that's why we get along so much.
I think so too.
We love the retro feeling.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
recreating it in a modern way.
Definitely. Yeah. I like to think I'm a little mixture of like old Hollywood glam and 90s like grunge and the supermodel era, Spice Girls.
I am such like an underworld, the kind of grungy, dark, techno-y club, but also the 1950s. I totally can relate.
Yes, I think we have that similar vibe. So
yes.
Baby Spice, Ginger Spice.
Perfect. Where's my outfit?
Right.
Where's my outfit?
We need to do a Spice Girl song.
Oh my gosh, we should do that for Halloween.
That would be cute.
We just gotta find some other girls to do it.
Right. I'm sure we could.
Anybody out there want to be a Spice Girl? Call us.
But and I love, just fashion and design, architecture. I love looking at different places. I love to travel. So for me, traveling just opens up my eyes to creativity and just different color schemes and textures and people. I mean, photography is essentially, at least portraiture is about people. And so when you look into somebody's eyes and you just sit down in a conversation with them and you hear their story. I've taken, one of my favorite photographs was just having coffee with a model here in Nashville, and she's in her 50s, and she's just beautiful. And we were just sitting there having coffee, and I just snapped a shot, and I love it. It captured her essence, and who she is. So, I think I do like to help people relax in front of the camera. When we are doing an actual shoot, I try to give them ways to just relax and just be you, and it doesn't have to be something put on it, but kind of help them move their bodies in ways that's the most attractive. I never want people
one-on-one.
Yes, exactly. I never want people to feel like, I don't know what to do with my body. So I like to just help them and give them prompts and then let them be themselves and do their thing, and then I'm just shooting. Yeah.
I love that. So, well, what is some of your things that like make you motivated, I guess? Like how do I know a lot of us as creatives, we're all constantly trying to find ways to fill up our cup because we're always giving like 110%. We're constantly, giving to our clients, giving to our friends, giving to our family in this artistic way, and sometimes we just have to remember to replenish who we are as artists. How do you do that on a daily basis, especially working, in the creative industry downtown, constantly shooting with people and talking to them on a daily basis?
Well, for me, I think people do help fill my cup, and so sometimes just having talks with people like you or other friends and people in my family, that is just sitting down having coffee and just kind of letting it all just go away for a minute and just talking about real life stuff. So those type things, and then travel helps me, and I do try to travel either for work or for fun pretty often.
You do that with Airbnb?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, I'm actually speaking in New York next week at the Airbnb Experience Host Meetup. So
you'll have to watch out for that and be sure to check her out on that experience.
Going to New York Fashion Week as well. So with a Nashville blogger. I'll be following her around and taking pictures of her at some of the shows. So
New York Fashion Week is like the best.
I've never been, so I'm so excited.
I'm jealous. I've never been. I've always dreamed of going. Live my dreams up for me, please.
I will next time. Hopefully we can go together.
Next year.
It's definitely a dream of mine too. I mean, I remember in the 90s just watching like on VH1 or whatever, just like the coverage of Cindy Crawford walking down the runway, or and just thought, wow, how could I ever be there? I was just a little girl from Tennessee and thought, I'll never be at Fashion Week. I wasn't, but in the back of my mind, I thought, well, maybe I could. Right. I never had that really strong like thing in my head of like, oh, I'm going to do that. It just was kind of like, well, maybe I could do that. Maybe there was that little voice in my head that was just like, yeah, go for it, try it. And then within the last 5 to 7 years, I've just started building relationships, and doors have been opening, and one leads to another, but it's all based on people, because essentially
authentic relationships.
Authentic relationships.
If you don't have people you can rely on and trust, you're not going to be able to get far.
That's true. That is very true.
That's amazing. Okay, so what are some of the, biggest obstacles in your journey? What are some of the things that you've kind of learned along the way? What are some of the things that are the biggest, takes that you have in your day-to-day businesses, with Photowalk and your photography business?
Well, I think I can identify with a lot of other creatives that organizational skills and administrative skills are not my forte, and so I have to learn, be self-aware, and know where my limits are and where my weaknesses are, and be able to staff that and bring people, surround myself with people that can help me in those areas, and be able to, either trade or barter or pay them for their worth and their value, because I can't do it all. And, I'm a mother of 4 and, have a busy family life as well too. And so for me to be able to run 2 businesses and have a family, I have to have help. And so I think that just being able to find those people that can help you, and my husband helps manage some of the business side of things, and does the taxes.
The hard part that nobody wants to do.
Right. And then I have 2 daughters who assist me and do video, and so kind of building a little bit of the family business there with them. And then be able to have people like you, who I came to Cassie and was like, hey, can you help me with the design for this this new business with Photowalk? And you've been amazing. So
we can't do it all. Us as creatives, we think that we can go in and we can be, the producer and videographer and photographer and designer, and sometimes we do have to do all of that on certain projects, but for the most part we have to reach out and ask for that help. And it's better, 2 people are better than 1, 3 people are better than 2, and the more that you grow your community and stay together, I love that really makes us like such, I feel like here in Nashville we have such like a strong knit like creative community, especially if you just reach out and just called somebody, they would be like, yeah, absolutely, I'll help you with that project. So. Definitely.
And within the businesses, you've got the hotel industry, and then you've got the models here, and the influencers, and the bloggers, and then you've got the photographers and videographers, and I think it's such a great circle of where we can all help each other out, and all work toward the same goal. You know, when I worked with an amazing hotel here in Nashville called the Russell, and they just,
I've heard of them. They're amazing.
Beautiful. It's a restored church in East, and I reached out to them and they said, yeah, come have a shoot for sure. I mean, it was just open doors, and I was able to work with the Brown twins, who are travel bloggers and fashion bloggers here in Nashville. And we got the most beautiful images of them. And, you know, the Russell was able to use them. The Brown twins were able to use them. I could use them.
Everybody benefiting from the collaboration and working together.
Yes, it's a win-win for sure. So, and those things lead to other shoots, you know, and other gigs and more clients for everyone. So
word of mouth is a powerful tool.
That's true.
I have absolutely had the word of mouth. You know, that has gotten me in my career in the last like 10 years. You know, somebody knew somebody who was like, oh, you're a great designer, and then they referred me to the next person and the next person. You know, that's sometimes, you know, how you really grow your business. Even if it's in social media, it's still somebody who knows somebody who saw you and passed you along. So that's the power of a community is just something just amazing. So,
yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right, so what do you have any stylistic choices that are really heavily influenced you here in Nashville? Because I know Nashville is such a specific city. Does it really influence you in your day-to-day business or your photography?
It does, and I think a lot of people think of Nashville fashion and look as being very cowboyish and very
which it is here with the tourists.
The tourists, right, who come in and dress like that. But when you see actual Nashvillians are very stylish, and especially
yes, we are.
Yes, I feel like are in the same like realm as New York fashion, and you know, maybe even LA. I know it's a different look there with being California, but I think that we as a whole really love to dress.
Yes.
And there's so many different events that are happening all the time.
There's
and
something always happening.
Right. So I just love going to an event and seeing how everybody is turned up and, you know, and is dressed out, and especially the menswear. You know, we have Eric Adler, who's an amazing menswear designer and just has a completely different look, and who's brought that look to Nashville. And then there's, you know, the hats with the Gorton Brothers hats and Stetson. We just have a really unique look, and I feel like anything goes. You can completely be yourself. When you go to Nashville Fashion Week or Fashion is for Everybody, there's a little bit of everything, you know.
How it should be.
Exactly.
You know? Very inclusive.
I tend to be drawn to the flashy. I like any old iron.
And over here.
And sequins. Any old iron. He's known for his very sequined pantsuits and jackets. So any chance I can get to work with him and wear one of the jackets while I'm shooting, I always do.
Look fab doing it.
Yes. So I think we've got just a really unique scene here, and I think that the world's starting to notice it.
Yeah, I think so too. So I have 2 more questions for you. So what is some of the best advice that you have ever gotten as, you know, a creative? The best advice someone's ever given you?
Oh, wow. There's so many. I mean, the first thing is kind of just be yourself and be authentic. You know, that's kind of what, right. So I think that is what draws people to me, and what I'm drawn to people as well in turn is just being real and being authentic. I'm not trying to put on a show for anybody. I'm just being me, and the way I dress and the way I, you know, present myself is just a reflection of me. It's not trying to be something else. It's just
a beautiful thing. That's how people want to get to know you. They want to know the real you. Know? That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to be successful and be a successful businesswoman that is able to make, you know, a good living and be able to do what we would like to do and travel. But also, I'm not trying to be a millionaire either. You know, we're not trying to like live this kind of lifestyle that is
just being
so
true to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Well, last question for our audience here. So what is one tip that or advice that you would give to any other photographers out in the industry?
Definitely just practicing that it's a craft, it's an art, it's a skill. There's so much technical pieces to it that are coming out all the time, and then just stretching yourself, doing things for fun, and doing things that push you out of your comfort zone. One time I did a 4-photographer challenge with another photographer, Acacia Evans, here in Nashville, and that totally pushed me out of my comfort zone. We all shot the same model we had 30 seconds to shoot the same look and boom boom right after each other.
Fun.
And it was so fun, and I feel like I was so scared to go into that, especially with the other photographers that were there. They're really good.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like, man, here I am in the ring with these, A-listers, and I honestly didn't feel like I was even worthy to be in that group. But by the end of it, I was like, I feel like the images I produced were just as good. And like I was, gave me that, I believed in myself by the end of it, and was like, okay, I can do this. So just doing things like that push you outside of that comfort zone. And even with Photowalk the Gulch, it was something that I'd never really done. I hadn't worked with tourists and gotten into the tourism industry. So here I am once again, finding my way through a whole new industry, and just being self-taught, just listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube videos, and then actual conversations.
The internet is your friend.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I always love chatting with you.
Me too. Me too.
Always.
Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us on this episode of The Design Therapy. Make sure that you have subscribed not only to me, The Design Therapy, but also to Photowalk the Gulch in authentic photos and designs. They will be listed in the description below. Let us know what you think about this episode, comment, and we hope to see you around. Bye.
Bye.